All right, welcome back, everybody. This is my Wednesday watch list. This is my weekly look ahead to the new releases coming out this new comic book day Wednesday, January 24th, 2024, for this particular week. It's actually a very, very light week. There's not a ton that's got me really excited to hit the shop this week, but there are a few things that we can go over. So hopefully you find this helpful. Hopefully you find this interesting, and hopefully you find the information I provide valuable. Some of these books are selling at a premium already. Some are things that I just like personally. But with that all said, hopefully you're enjoying all of the content here on the channel. Please let me know what you think in the comments down below. Your comments do actually help with the algorithms on YouTube. So please drop a comment down below. Also, remember to like, subscribe, hit the alert button so you don't miss anything so we can keep growing this channel and move on to bigger and better things. And with that said, I'm bringing back some old segments and some newer shows, etc. for 2024. So a lot of exciting things coming in the next few weeks. But without further ado, if you want to see the new release books for this week, all you got to do is hang out for a few seconds after the intro, and I will be right back. All right, so let's get into the week of January 24th. Like I said, there's not a ton going on this week, at least not compared to last week's. Granted, I'm a little biased when it comes to a few things. I'm a big X-Men fan. I do like Spider-Man. Big G.I. Joe Transformer guy. But with that all said, this week's Buzz books are a little bit different. A little bit different. So recently, we found out that Turtles is ending with issue 150, and then Jason Aaron is going to basically kind of, I don't know if it's technically a reboot, revamp, reinvigorate, whatever it might be. Jason Aaron's going to take over the title very, very soon. But now that we know the ID, this run of the series is ending with issue 150, we are facing that draw down to the end. So with that, I expect to see a lot of hype and excitement growing as we move forward to the ending of this series and the beginning of the next one. We saw it with G.I. Joe. I won't be surprised if we see it again here with Turtles. So kicking it off with issue 147, the road to 150 begins here. Pretty cool, Raphael cover there as well. But with that said, this is the A cover. There is also an Eastman B cover here. So you can look out for that one. Then we got some incentives as well, including a 1 in 10, 1 in 25 that's a black and white of the 1 in 10, and then there is a 1 in 50, which is a black and white of that Eastman cover. None of these are really doing much yet as far as, price increases on a ratio type of value, but just something to be aware of. Again, it happened with G.I. Joe right at the end of that run. I wouldn't be surprised if it happened with the Turtles. So just something to keep an eye on, just something to keep an eye on. Now, we also been hearing a lot about this new kind of corner of the Image universe coming, that Ghost Machine, and we are finally getting our kind of real start. I know the one series already came out, the what is the one with the nuclear dude? The glowy guy right there. We already got that kind of coming back, already came back as part of this new Ghost Machine corner of the Image universe. But here we're having like a huge like anthology introducing a lot of new characters. So this could be a book that might draw some interest because who knows which, if any, or many of these might actually hit and become popular series. So with that, almost like Darker Image. Remember those old books, Image back in the day? This kind of reminds me of that. Only difference, Darker Image was basically like one book, and then they had like a couple of special edition type of deals. This has a crap load of covers. So buckle up, let's get into it. This is the cover A, but as far as I can gauge. I'm not going to do them in order of B, C, and whatever. Just going to do them in order that makes sense to me and for my presentation here. But here are some of the other covers here. We've got the Geiger. That's the series that came back, Geiger. It's, drew a blank. But Geiger's already back with like a volume 2. So Geiger's part of it. Then we've got this Rocketellers. I don't know what that whatever that is. Looks like Scooby-Doo or what was that Steve Carell movie with the yellow bus? Little Miss Sunshine. It's got a Little Miss Sunshine. Maybe it's just the yellow and the yellow bus, but I don't know. Who knows? I don't know nothing about these series. I know nothing about them yet, but I am interested, and I want to check this, check this anthology out because it's going to have a bunch of stories. So I'll see which ones I like. I kind of like that idea, so I can try them out, test them out, and pick up the ones that I like, and then I can not have to invest in everything. To that end, well, these are 3 more covers. So what do we got? 4. Oh, because that middle one also is a foil edition. Because, of course, we can't have a book without foil these days. In addition, we're also getting Hornsby and Halo, and then whatever this Hyde thing is, it has like 2 mirrored edition with like a, I don't know, a little Boy Scout kid here, and then like an evil Chucky doll on the other side. Again, I don't know what the series is about. By context, I can kind of guess, but there you go. Frankenstein, uh, doctors, I don't know. Looks like it all takes place in the 80s. If you check out that lady in the back, she kind of looks like Mrs. Wheeler from Stranger Things. I don't know. So we'll see what's going on Hyde Street here, but there's 2 covers for Hyde Street. All right, we're not done yet. We got more. We also have introducing Rook here in the middle. That's Jason Fabok. Looks kind of like a Court of the Owls kind of thing there. We also got Dire Wolf, and we've got this Redcoat guy. I don't know. More and more series. You think we're done? No. These are all cover price, by the way. You want some more? We got some more. We do have a black and white, oh, not black and white. We got a sketch cover, blank sketch cover, and this Mr. X-ray glasses, whatever this is, over here. And then there is one incentive, which is a 1 in 100, which is this yellow version, mustard colored, of that introducing the Rook. Looks pretty cool, actually, especially in all yellow. I actually really like this, but you know, we'll see. Again, no idea about any of these characters personally, and I'm kind of curious. So we'll see. We'll see what happens in this book. But with that said, this 1 in 100 did have one pre-sale way back in December for $220. I don't know how much context it has now that we're in the middle of January, but there are a couple listed right now. $150 and $200 is what they're asking. We'll see if it sells for that amount or how many of these might show up out there. Because again, you saw how many covers there were. So I wouldn't be surprised if a few places might hit for one of these 1 in 100s, but I don't know. I don't know. It's kind of putting all the eggs in one basket here as they pick this one cover with Rook, where this might, if this is the character that becomes the breakout star, then this could be even more sought after. But if not, well, you kind of limit yourself a little bit. Okay, so like I said, I'm looking forward to reading this, but apart from this book, I am looking forward to a few other books to add to my reading list. These will be more of my top of the pile type deals. Once I get my stack of books on Wednesday, these will be the first things I want to crack open to take a look at what's going on, to catch up and try to keep up, I should say, with some of these stories. I collect a lot of comics, and I don't have time to read everything, but I do try my best. And here's one. It's pretty good. Detective Comics. I also really like these covers. These covers on this run of Detective, like the last year or so, has been really great. I don't know. I like this, the border, the framing of this. I like the trade dress. I like it. I'm just into it. And then there's other good covers here as well. We've got B's and C's that are pretty good. I mean, it looks like a playing card. And then we got that creepy tree, bodies all mixed in and mingled together. It's just good stuff. And then even the incentives aren't half bad, as we are getting a 1 in 25. That's pretty sweet. And the 1 in 50, which is just a black and white of the cover A. But really, you look at that line work and the detailing there. I dig it. Again, I'm not a huge fan of the black and white covers. I feel like it's lazy, but sometimes it gets to show off the art that the artist put down. And this, to me, shows off look at that line work. Just the fine little details there, the texturing of everything. I like it. But these aren't selling for above ratio or anything, so don't need to give any pricing on them. Just letting you know that these are out there. Also, I mentioned at the top of the show that I am a big X-Men fan. I like trying to keep up with what the X characters are up to, and we know we're getting the fall of everything, and we'll get a new rebirth. So part of it, we're getting Magneto back. So Resurrection of Magneto, not surprised. Nobody stays dead. Nobody stays dead. So Resurrection of Magneto is coming here with issue 1. Let's see how they decide to bring him back. Cover A. There is also a John Tyler Christopher negative space cover that's pretty good. Classic look. You got a Stormbreakers, which is just kind of meh to me, by Nick Klein. I don't know. It's just something about the background doesn't match the character. It looks like they took the character and overlaid him on just like a generic cityscape background. Something like I would do when I do those makeup covers, my little mock-ups for that should be a cover. That's what that feels like. But there are also there's also a foil edition. You can see kind of a shiny Magneto there. It looks kind of like that Roger Cruz, Joe Mad from Age of Apocalypse kind of look there as far as the art is going. And then we've got this stupid logo. I don't like these black and white logo covers. I think they're lazy. I think they're dumb, but there it is. And on top of that, they're making it even worse by making that one of the incentives, because we do have incentives here, including an Art Adams, 1 in 25, not bad, 1 in 100, and a 1 in 200. That is just, virgin versions of the cover A, and then the stupid logo. I don't know. I just think it's stupid to do the logo. on the cover. I get it. It was a kind of a fun thing, and they were selling us all those foils at all the conventions. I don't know. It's kind of dumb, but whatever. 1 in 200 if you want to go and buy it. Prices again, nothing's really doing above ratio, so nothing to really report. So this is making an easy week for me so far. But on top of this, just because it's not here in the reading list doesn't mean I don't want to read it, as we do have some more new number ones coming our way. That isn't to say that I'm really itching to check out the new Power Pack, but, well, we are getting new Power Pack. I don't know. Power Pack was never for me. I know a lot of people enjoy it. It just wasn't my thing, so I'm just going to let this one sit. But there it is coming out. So if you're interested, Power Pack Into the Storm, another new number one as they try to reinvigorate this series. Cover A, there is a B cover that's not bad, and then there's a 1 in 25 that is an Elizabeth Torque, who I've been saying has been doing good stuff lately, and I agree. Still, I like that one too. It's got a really cool, like, Saturday morning when I was a kid kind of throwback vibe with that look and everything. That could be on like a pillowcase or a sheet set, you know? Definitely a t-shirt, a ringer t-shirt. But what I am looking forward to reading this week is the new Thrawn series. You guys know I'm a Star Wars guy, and granted, I haven't been on the Star Wars show very much just because my schedule doesn't allow for me to really do Sunday nights anymore. But I do love Star Wars still, and I do love Thrawn, and I am looking forward to this adaptation, I believe, of that novel series. So Thrawn Alliances, looking forward to it, because I never got around to actually reading those books. Like, I'll be honest, I have it on my Audible list to do, but I just haven't listened to them yet. That said, The Greatest Strategist returns. Pretty cool. Cover A. We do have a couple of other covers here, including one that actually looks like Lars Mikkelsen there in the middle. Granted, he's kind of hiding that little gut that he's got on the Ahsoka show, but the face kind of reminds me of it there. And then that other is the book cover that we mocked up on the Star Wars show. It was one of our made up covers before they released this image. So we called it. But these are the regular covers, cover price versions that you can get. There are incentives as well. Both of these are actually doing pretty well. So we're going to get into these in a second here, including pretty sweet 1 in 25. And then there is a Virgin 1 in 100, which we should be used to by now, as every Star Wars comic these days seems to have a Virgin 1 in 100. With that said, let's start there and point to the fact that, yes, there were a lot of pre-sales early on for the Thrawn book. You know, FOC was ages ago, but you can see a lot of high early sales, 177, some best offers on 250. So I think some of those accepted like 160, and then one sold for like 145 just recently within the last couple of weeks. But that's a lot, and a lot of early jumping on as for this series. But right now, the only copies listed are asking $270 and $300. So that could be why the pre-sales kind of slowed, because that is a hefty increase on the price. We know what's been happening with these 1 in 100s, and many of them don't hold that high of a value. So be wary in over-investing in a book like this. But as many people are kind of on hold to see what happens with the 1 in 100, and if they can find one that's affordable for them, the 1 in 25 seems to already be gaining some steam. So this is one to watch for this week too, as we have plenty of sales early on, looking at, about $40 to $50. Yeah, there might be some cheaper ones mixed in there as well with some of the pre-sales, but many of the asking prices right now are looking for like $45 to like $50. So that seems to be the going rate right now for this one. See what happens when you hit your shop. Maybe they have it for cheaper. Some of the other online stores will drop some for cheaper here and there, etc. So keep an eye out for it and keep an eye on what this one does. But right now, this one does seem to be kind of popular and is moving steadily at double ratio. So keep an eye on it. All right. Up next, we have another number one. And I know a lot of you are probably going to groan and moan, but seriously, I mean, I gotta tip my cap. Comic Tom's got a comic book coming out. So Comic Tom got, Whatnot to publish a comic book. So that's kind of cool. I'm not sure what this is really. I know I've read the synopsis of what it's about, but I'll give it a look-see. I don't know if we need the amount of covers that we're getting for this book, which we're going to get to in a second, but just want to point it out. It's kind of cool to go from just doing what I'm doing here, talking about comics, to being able to write your own. I gotta say, that is kind of cool. So, like I said, a tip of the cap there. So, this is the cover A. Hold on. There's a lot of these. Ready? We have a Virgin upside down version of this. We also have a pretty cool Brave and the Bold throwback, which I do like that they actually in the top bit they while most of the comics just use their actual names, like I use my actual name here, they do have their handles. So Comic Tom and Fire Guy Ryan at the top of the Brave and the Bold one is a kind of a nice touch. I think that's kind of funny. I think it's kind of cool, and that's a pretty cool cover. That said, that is an homage to Brave and the Bold. The first Justice League was 28, Starro, etc. Then we got a bunch of other ones. We've got this. We got a Mac. We got a couple other artists doing some stuff here. Like I said, there's a lot. There's homages as well to Metroid, and then we've got a Jim Mahfood. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. And then this one looks like an Event Horizon like little callback. I don't know, movie poster style. A lot of covers. We didn't get the incentives yet. Instead of starting with 1 in 10 blank, and then you got a 1 in 25, there's a 1 in 50, and then we go even higher than that because I guess they're going to be publishing a lot of these. So a 1 in 100, a 1 in 150 foil version of that Brave and the Bold callback, and a 1 in 200, almost like a negative space version. Well, it's not negative space, just a black instead of white background on that cover B for the 1 in 200. Man, it's, like I said, I think it's kind of cool. And considering he does have his own like mail subscription service, that he has plenty of places where he can put a lot of these incentives, these books, so they will get into people's hands. So with that said, just wanted to put it out there. It is a new #1 this week. Yeah, like I said, I'll give it a look-see. I'm kind of curious. So with that, let's move on to the homage section. Going off of that Brave and the Bold homage, let's go into the other homages, which, of course, we're getting more Wolverine. Wolverine is what they're calling him. I thought they were calling this Wolverine through Marvel history or something like that, but nope. They're just called the Wolverine variants. So I've been doing the shorts. Another one will be dropping, or well, actually would have dropped earlier today for the next batch for this week, and then we got one more week to go. So next Monday, I'll drop the final set of covers that are coming our way. But this one, Immortal Thor #6 has the Beta Ray Bill callback from 337. Punisher, for some reason, is giving us the Iron Man Demon in a Bottle callback. Still kind of fun. This one's a little bit of a stretch, but once you see them together, you do actually see it. Spider-Woman is giving us a Edge of Spider-Verse first appearance of Gwen Stacy, where you're getting the 3 stages of character. Like I said, I know it's a stretch, but that's what it is. That's what it's an homage of. It's just not exactly 1-for-1, close enough. And then a pretty good one. We do have the Superior Spider-Man 3 is giving us that ASM 50 first Kingpin walking away. No Spider-Man no more cover. We've seen it before. It's nothing new, but it's still always nice to see. I don't know. This is one I don't get overly tired of seeing because it kind of is a storyteller. It's not just the same pose that's redone. So I don't know. I'm still enjoying these Wolverine throwbacks because they're usually pretty well done. So, that's this week's batch. So we'll move on to, we have a Batman Brave and the Bold #9, which is giving us a nice animated series callback here with this cover. I like it. It's pretty cool. And then another homage this week is another familiar one we've seen plenty of time. But this is Darkwing Duck, Justice Ducks #1. So it is a new #1. I thought about putting the new #1 section, but I didn't feel like covering all of the covers that they did because it is a Dynamite book and there are like 26 different covers. Granted, different variations of the same 5 or so, but still a lot of covers, and I didn't feel like making all the materials for that. So I gave you the one, which is the Justice League 1 callback there, little homage. So still kind of fun. All right. On top of that, we do have some later prints to get into this week as well. No incentives, so I don't have to complain about Marvel's ratio incentives on second prints for this week, but we are getting a couple facsimiles. We're getting a facsimile of X-Men #4, First Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. We've looked at this book on our Wednesday show, the TAC show, a couple of times, I believe, the last few weeks. So it's kind of cool. We're getting facsimile of the Flash of Two Worlds. So you got Jay Garrick and Barry Allen there on the same cover. That's giving you also a blank sketch cover if you want to get a sketch done on it. And then for an extra $2, so it's $4 for the regular facsimile, $5 for the blank. And then if you want to pay $6, you can get a shiny foil version. It's par for the course these days. So if you like shiny foils, there you go. You got an option. So for $5.99, you can get yourself a Flash of Two Worlds that shines. I don't know. I'm not going to bother personally, but it's out there. As is this second print of Bloodrick. So Bloodrick, I don't know. Looks kind of interesting. I didn't actually read this. Did anybody check this out? Is it any good? It's got like a barbarian vibe here. Kind of crazy looking art, but second print. So it must have sold well enough to warrant this because that's how Image rolls. They basically print to the opening orders and then they don't overprint. So that's when they get the second prints if they get a lot of callbacks and looking for more copies. So that is also why we're getting some more of these other ones like Dracula issue 1, the third print. Surprise, it's got a third. And we also got a second print for issue 2 for Dracula. And there's also a new issue of Dracula coming out this week. I think it's issue 4. It might be the last one of this mini. Not sure, but I know I didn't cover it because I kind of fell off on reading this. To be honest, I just can't keep up reading everything. I know I got to go back to it's James Tinney and it's Dracula. It should be interesting, should be cool. I don't know, just haven't found the time. But with that, we are getting these later prints. And again, when I mention these things, if you hear me say something stupid and you're like, you're not reading that, please tell me and convince me to get off my lazy ass and catch up on some of this stuff. I'm open to your suggestions. So if there's other books too that I'm not covering when I do this watch list that I should be looking into and should be keeping an eye on, maybe I should add to my reading list, please let me know in the comments down below. Because otherwise, how would I know? Unless you tell me. I'm just a guy collecting comics with my own biases and preferences. But with that said, we're getting more of these G.I. Joe / Transformers Energon verse books. 4th print for issue 1. I like it. I'm really enjoying this series. I'm guessing it's doing well enough that they got to keep going back to print. So 4th print. 3rd print on issue 2. Pretty fun. RC kicking, was that Ravagen? Rumble? Anyway. Issue 2 is getting a 3rd print. And then we're also getting a 2nd print on issue 3. So as you know, with the 2nd prints, they've been giving us 2. We're getting a Decepticon version and our Autobot version. So boom, boom. There are 2 2nd prints for issue 3. Not to be outdone, Void Rivals is still lurking in the background, now giving us a 6th. That's right, 6th printing on issue 1. Series ain't bad. This is where I start getting into. These is where we're going to start getting some of these really like low printed versions. I know you guys like low printed, rare. Yeah, and you might have thought that at the 4th print. You might have thought that at the 5th print. But as the later we go, it generally is diminishing returns, and the orders are generally less. So I don't know. I'd be curious of how many places actually are going to ordering the 6th print of this book. So I don't know, just something for you later print collectors to keep in mind. And speaking of the 6th print on issue 1, we are getting the 2nd print on issue 6. Right here, kind of in the same vein as the other like reveal covers, but this isn't really a reveal of any classic Transformer type characters. It's more of a reveal for this kind of story, its current storyline. So got to build out this universe, this corner of the Energon verse, because Void Rivals is in there with G.I. Joe as a newer property, mixing in with the nostalgia of the 80s. So don't forget about this series as well if you're into it. But if you think it's crazy that we're having all of these later prints go this high, well, I'll tell you what else is crazy, and that's some of these other covers we are getting this week.
WTF, Gary? WTF. What the fuck does WTF mean? What the fuck? Oh.
Yes, WTF is right. Once we look at these books, I've not been shy about telling you how much I'm annoyed by this Beast World story, and I just can't wait till it's over, but come on. What's with Starla? Starla Harley. She's all jacked up bunny. I don't know what this is. I don't know what's going on. Granted, I'm sure it's part of the story, but this isn't a story I want to read. If somebody were to sit me down and say, hey, man, you want to read a story about Harley Quinn where she turns into a gigantic Hulk-sized bunny? I'd say, no, not really. No, I don't really care for that. Yeah, but we're apparently getting it, at least on the cover. Again, I don't know what's going on in the guts of this book, but the little bit that I started with, I wasn't down. So I'm just waiting this one out. Because if this isn't weird enough for you, whose idea was it to put the fishnets on the canary? I get it. Black Canary wears fishnets as a character who's an actual grown woman. This is a bird, people. This is kind of weird. Kind of weird that they put fishnets on this bird. I'm just saying. Not for me. Not for me. Upside Down City is kind of cool. If it was just the bird without the fishnets, maybe I wouldn't be so critical. But those fishnets, it's weird. It's just weird. All right. I don't know what's going on lately, but Cassidy's work has not been great. Again, I'm not here to try to besmirch on artists. Like, I know I put Frank Miller in here a lot, and a lot of Peach Momoko's in here too, because sometimes you got to criticize, because not every piece of art is good. But seriously, what's going on? What's going on here? Who approved this? This ain't good. This shouldn't be good enough to make a cover. Guys, I don't know. Again, maybe I'm missing something. You want to defend this one, you tell me what's going on here. Because Cookie Monster in the background is really weirding me out. And then Wolverine looks more like Puck. I get it. I don't know. It's just not done well either. But there you go. X-Force 48. This is a variant cover. I don't know if you want it. Go for it. Again, tell me why. Tell me why. Because I'm not going for this one, personally. I don't have many covers to give you this week, but on X-Force 48, I do like this one. This looks more like Beast to me. This is the Beast cover. Jumping at you, kind of reminds me of that old Wolverine pose, but still, this is a cover I can get behind. Are the proportions exaggerated? Absolutely, but it's looking through a scope like a night vision kind of thing, and you're allowed a little bit of leeway if you're giving me an interesting take. That last one, again, with Cookie Monster in the background, and then like a Judd Nelson Breakfast Club punch in the front. Oh. Anyway, Target Beast. I like this cover. I think it's pretty cool. So there's an X-Force 48 free to get. And then just randomly, I mentioned Peach. I like this. This is a pretty good cover. This is that Zawa, whatever that title is. I got the first issue. I still haven't really gotten around to reading it, but this is the third. I think it's issue 3. I didn't even bother putting any of the other in here. I just like this one. Like, this was a pretty cool image. Like, with her watercolor style, I think this is actually pretty good. So, again, not always here to crap on certain artists. It's just, I'll tell you when you did good. This is pretty good. So, with that, let's pivot into the cheesecake covers to kind of cleanse our palate of all that weirdness and take a look at some interesting stuff here. Obviously, you're getting a Perillo on Red Sonja. So Red Sonja 7. There's a Perillo. There's a Linzer. There is a, I think it's a Barron's. All pretty cool. I think there's another one in there in the mix as well, but it wasn't as cheesy. Even though the third one there is a bit bloody, it just felt kind of weird for the cheesecake section. So I didn't include everything. Moving on over to, well, Zenescope. They always dominate this section. If you just like covers, here you go. Here's some options for you. So Grimm Fairy Tales annual number 2023. So last year's annual, you got this crazy pink cover. This image in the middle is fantastic. Newer artist. I can't remember the artist's name, but someone to watch. As you can see here, I was talking to Joe a little bit about the artist today, just on our little chat. But that's a great cover. It's just a great piece of art right there. Again, I don't know what the hell's inside these things, but that's a pretty cool cover. And then we got a couple other ones there if you're interested in those as well. Apart from the annual, we're also getting this Van Helsing Vampire Hunter #1. It seems like every issue, like, only do one shots, I guess. Is that what the deal is? It feels like over at Zenescope. But there we go. Look at a Vampire Hunter Zatanna. And then we got a couple other options here with, on the sides. Yeah, it looks almost like a Linzer on the right, but it's not. But still, it fits our section, fits this segment pretty well. So there's some covers for you to get. I made a joke that they don't actually do more than #1s, but we do have this. Grimm Fairy Tales number 79. Yay! So I guess they do have an ongoing. And this one's got a few covers as well. Starting off with here, the Sword and the Stone. This one in the middle, that's a Pierre Luigi. I don't remember how to say the artist's name, but we've looked at these before. Pretty cool one right there in the middle, and the others aren't bad either. But there's some more Zenescope covers for you. Jenny Frison is giving us a B cover here on Harley. So if you don't want Harley as a giant rabbit, we can get this. I prefer this. Call me crazy. Also, not opposed to, I thought about doing these as a separate segment because DC also seems to be doing these Suicide Squad Kills the Justice League, the video game that took forever to come out. It's like 2 or 3 years late. They're doing all these covers to kind of celebrate the video game release coming. So this one we thought was pretty cool for Harley. And there was another one mixed in there somewhere, but I didn't bother. But apart from these, there is a regular cover A as well. And then we got a couple of incentives, which I didn't show you the cover A, but the incentives, we do have a 1 in 25, which it's all right. And the 1 in 50 is kind of a callback to those old, like kind of Frazetta style covers. Close to checking in on these, but they really are right around ratio, both of these. At the 1 in 25 is more like 15 to 20, and then the 1 in 50 is right in that $40 to $50 range. Right now, we'll see as the week goes on, but right now that wasn't enough to me to have to put up a separate slide to give you some pre-sale info. So something to watch, but they're really on the outside looking in here as far as that goes. So far, we are getting another issue of Power Girl. So Power Girl is giving us a couple more covers for consideration here. We got a little flex in here on this B cover. I think this is like the B cover. And there's another cover here. Again, cover price version. This is a Raza. Pretty sweet. I like it. I like the lens flare there. It works well with the image because flying in the sky, it looks nice. Looks nice. Then we have this issue, this 1 in 25. So this is the incentive variant. One of the incentive variants. There's a 1 in 50 as well, but didn't quite fit the cheesecake section. So we only put in the 1 in 25. I want to bring this one up because I want to talk a little bit about this, because you guys probably do the same thing I do. Everybody likes to look, what are things selling for? You go and check your eBay sales, and sometimes you see best offer, strike through. Oh, it doesn't tell you what happened. It doesn't tell you the price. You got to go either through TerraPeak, through eBay, or go to an outside source to get the information, the actual accepted prices. But the other thing you got to be wary of, especially when doing this, is let's look at this book as my example. So looks like we had a pre-sale back in November for 20 bucks. All right, fine, forever ago. And then we have another one that happened more recently that said, because when you do the sort for ended recently, this comes out as being more recently, but it says October. It's like, how did this sell in October for $50? It's curious, right? It may make you wonder. So I'm going to try to explain it as I understand it. So generally, when you see this, where there's a weird date mixed in with your sort, it generally means that the auction was just ended. And the date you're seeing listed is the date that it was listed. So that October 20 whatever date was the date that was initially listed, but the seller, you see here, October 25th, 2023, 50 bucks. This actually didn't sell here. The seller ended this book early on January 19th. This particular book and that I'm using as an example. But if you go into the actual listing, this is what you'll see. The listing was ended either through maybe an outside sale, maybe the book's not available anymore. Especially with pre-sales like this, maybe they just decided against qualifying or ordering enough for this book, or they decided to keep it for themselves as the seller, or sell it in their local spot, physically, or they sold it on the outside of eBay. So they removed this listing because maybe that copy is no longer available, or maybe they removed it because they want to see where the price goes. Who knows? All we can say is this actually did not sell for 50. It looks like it was just removed. So let's not count that as a sale, right? Just wanted to give that little information out there for you, because again, this is stuff I got to dig through when I'm doing like the Hot 10 and I'm doing research. Come across stuff like this all the time, and it gets you in the weeds sometimes, and it really is a pain in the butt. But just wanted to explain a little bit about that, because if you also notice, when I did do this deck, there's none listed on the asking side when I started all this. So this could be a tough one to find. This is issue 5 of Power Girl. Maybe our orders just aren't high enough, and there's not going to be many of these out there. So just something else to keep in mind if you're really one of those into that, this character, and you really want to collect it. This could be a tough one for you to get, because it's seeming like there's none available right now, and there were not even many pre-sales, and even ones that were listed for pre-sales were removed for one reason or another. So with that said, PSA over, informational segment over. Let's finish this up and move on to our next book, which is Amazon's Attack number 4. I kind of like this. This is a pretty cool cover. Bright. Mary Marvel, as Shazam. I guess she's Captain Marvel now. Still. So I like it. It's a nice little cover. Apparently other people like it as well. There are some early pre-sales for 50, 60 bucks. Asking prices, well, they're done there. Could be a similar situation. This is Amazon's attack number 4. Maybe a lot of places just don't have the stock, to keep this moving. Or maybe I didn't need to dig into all of these. I didn't dig into every sale. Maybe some of these were ended early for all I know. Who knows? But it's definitely just one to watch. So that's why it's on this list. So it's I see the flags going of it's a pretty girl on a cover. Not a lot of copies available. Copies that did apparently sell sold at a premium. So it's something to watch. So that's why it's on the watch list. With that said, we do have our final segment, and we will move on to just more incentives because those last couple were incentives. But I do have some randos here for you. Some of these aren't even selling very well. I just like the covers. You like Wild Dog? This is a pretty cool Wild Dog cover. Just saying. It's 1 in 25 on that Brave and the Bold number 9. It's Batman title. I think it's a pretty cool cover. So if you're into Wild Dog, you like Wild Dog, you want a spec on Wild Dog, he doesn't have that many variant covers. So here's an option for you. And you can get it pretty cheap. This is under ratio, not selling for very much. Now, I know people are hating this next title. They're not really into this new Punisher. I can't say that I'm into this new Punisher at all either. But I can tell you that Perillo doing this vampire cover on a Marvel title is kind of cool and makes this kind of intriguing. I kind of like this look here, even if I don't like the title. I wish it was Frank Castle still, but it is what it is. But this is issue 3, also not selling at a premium as of yet, but something I thought was a cool cover to keep an eye on. So I'm just going to watch it just because I like it. We also have Spider-Woman. So I mentioned before, Spider-Woman, she had one of the Wolverine covers, I think, earlier. But we also have this 1 in 25. Got all the Hydra guys here on the cover. She's doing like flips into the scene. Granted, only pre-sale I could find was right around ratio. It's actually under at 20 bucks, but with shipping, it's right around ratio. And then listing. I only found one listed, and it's only listed for just above ratio. Again, this is just something to watch, just for context. So let's see what happens with this one as well. Will it go anywhere? Probably not, but you never know. But we do have one more that I want to get into, which is this Superior Spider-Man number 3, also a book that had a Wolverine cover. This is a Raphael Grassetti cover, I believe. Badass image. I dig this. I like the red background. It makes Spidey pop. It's pretty cool pose and posing, standing over you. This is actually pretty good. So on issue 3 of Superior Spider-Man, couple early pre-sales here as well. 155 bucks, and then one was recently for about almost 40. Right now, as far as asking prices go, there's one listed for like over 60 bucks, and then there's an auction, which still has days to go. So we'll see. A couple online places already sold out on this one, or they're asking for a bit of a premium above ratio too. Just something to keep an eye on. So I like this cover. I like this personally. So I put it in here, and it's going to be something I watch because it could sell above the ratio mark, but we'll see. Well, all in all, as you guys saw, it's kind of a weak week, right? No, it wasn't just me. I'm not just crazy. And then a couple of those covers are really bad in there, but there's good ones too. They're good ones too. But with all that said, that is my rundown for this week. Thanks for stopping by. Thank you for all the support. Hopefully, again, you found this helpful and you find this enjoyable. And I will keep trying to do this every week for you. And with that all said, make sure you come back and check out all of the other content here on the channel. We got another tax show coming for you on Wednesday, live shows on Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and that tax show on Wednesday. This Tuesday, I don't know if I'm going to do a Hidden Gems, a Chasing Ghosts, Trade Secrets, or I might give you a toy show. I don't know. I've been, like I said, toying around with doing toys again. So we'll see what I decide to drop on Tuesday, but I'll try to get something out. Thursdays have kind of been up in the air. I know I haven't done a dollar bin digging in a while, but to be honest, after doing that article for a few years now, I've written almost 300 articles. It's getting a little tough to give you more stuff that isn't just news related. So we'll see where that one's going to go going forward. But with that all said, 2024 is new projects, new ideas, some new stuff coming your way. So hopefully you're into that. Hopefully you're enjoying that. Make sure you check out all the content down below. Keep telling your friends so we can keep growing the channel. And again, thanks, and I'll be back with some more content soon. All right, later.